The Makery Cake Company has made the next generation of cake parties. We are making videos paired with kits that you take home. We're doing lots of popular designs, and their videos actually have 2 different camera angles so you can really see what's going on. All you need from home is a few different household items like knives and forks and things, and these are appropriate for birthday parties as well as video conferencing, or you can just do them at home with your kiddos. We have lots of seasonal designs coming up, so there'll be something for everyone, so look out for those, and we're just trying to make it easy for you to have some fun.
Hey everyone, welcome to my home during quarantine. Today we are making gingerbread houses, and gingerbread is one of my favorite holiday things to do. A lot of people think that these are really hard to do, and the putting together of the holiday houses is the hardest, but I personally don't have a problem with it, and I'll show you my method for doing it. Alright, so first things first, I like to open up all of my candies and get them separated into bowls. I don't know if that's an OCD thing, but I have to have it all separated because I want what I want when I want it, and that's just how I am. So, the first thing you need to do is open up your white. Now we give you a truck ton of white icing because we don't know what you want to do with it. Do you want to cover the whole house in icing? We don't know. So we give you a ton. So we give you some templates here. Now these templates are to help you open these bags to the appropriate height. So with the white, we're going to use that quite a bit. And you take your bag and you lay it down on the template. Let's see if I can get this on camera. And you want to lay it down until it just touches the inside of the black. Now the white is labeled here, white, and you're going to take your scissors and just cut it off right where it says white. Now I labeled where the seams are. You know, I should really have a nice pair of scissors in my life. I really should. So cut it right off, and then this is the little trash. You want to be sure to set that aside so you don't get it in your icing anywhere. So you got a nice fairly wide hole, but not too big. It's probably a little bit less than the width of your pinky open. Alright, and then we're going to get the green open. So I'm going to set this down. Now this one looks a little bit wonky, and you have to make sure that you have the seam side of the bag where it's labeled seam. Now if you look at it from the seam to the solid line on the right, it's actually symmetric. But if you go all the way out past the seam, then it's a little wonky and lopsided. So, what you're doing with this one, and why you're opening it as you are, is going to give you a nice leaf shape so that you can do your evergreen trees and maybe a wreath. So that's what your leaf shape is going to be. And then your red, we're just going to cut that straight across too. Right about there. So hold it with your finger, pick it up so you have where you're supposed to cut it marked, and then take your scissor and just cut it off. Now that's a lot smaller hole than your white. Now your white's a lot bigger because you're probably going to do like a little bit of a snow field. You might want to do some icicles from the roof, and you need a little bit more icing to do that with. So now that you have your bags open, then we're going to take the white and start putting our house together. So the house, I always start with the shorter sides. Okay? Now the shorter sides are this little rectangular piece, okay? And you're going to put a ton of icing down and then stick it here. And it should just stay up. And of course this is video, so it's not going to do it. Now I almost reached for this piece. This piece is not the other side. That piece is the roof. So put it along the bottom. Nice thick line, okay? And along the top. And I go ahead and I do both sides. And then you're going to take this guy and put it here. I just realized I put the side of the house here and the front here because you know how when you're concentrating on the camera, you're not really thinking about logistics. So anyway, it's going to be sideways a little bit, but that's okay. We can make a nice little path and it'll be fine. You know, half of cake decorating is learning how to fix your mistakes, right? Okay, so then we got the truck done of icing on the edge. Put that down. Now I think the key to why this is so easy to put together is just because of the thickness of this white icing. If the icing isn't thick, it's not going to act like this, and it's not going to go together this easy. All right, do the sides and the bottom. Now notice how I'm holding this white bag. I'm making myself a smaller little grip down here. If you tried to squeeze it all from the top up here, your hand is actually going to hurt after a while. So I like to just kind of squeeze it that way. I'm going to fit this on the insides of those walls because I put the icing right here. So if you put it just up too, then the icing would have been on the wrong side. So you got to remember to make sure the walls go where the icings are. All right, a little bit of wet terra cloth towel to wipe your hands on. All right, so now we got the walls up and we got to put the roof on. Okay, this is where I like to actually go ahead and put it on my standing structure rather than the individual piece. Go across the top, up the side, down the side, across the top. Now you don't, got a little bit on my arm. Yeah, put that on my parchment. Gingerbread houses are messy, that's half the fun. All right, so we're gonna do that, and now we're gonna take a roof piece. And you're gonna put this on, just make it a line to the top points, and push it down. There we go. Now, you may have noticed that the edges of your gingerbread don't look like the edges of a regular cookie. That is because when you bake gingerbread for the purpose of putting it in a gingerbread house, you need to make sure that the pieces are exactly the right size. They haven't warped from being moved around. They haven't spread out. They haven't gotten a kind of a wobbagus angle from being picked up. You want them to be exactly the size of the cutters or the pattern or whatever you have, so that it actually assembles real well. And that might be part of the stigma of, you know, gingerbread houses being really hard to put together. All right, so there it is all assembled. Now, if you want to put a full snow top on the top of your gingerbread house, you may want to let this set overnight to dry a little bit, because that's going to be a lot of weight on the top of this house, and that weight might actually make those start sliding down. Now if that happens, well, c'est la vie, you take them and you push them back together, and if there's any cracks, you just cover them up with more candy. It's not a big deal. It's just a gingerbread house. It's supposed to make you happy. So no stress here. All right, so the first thing I like to do is figure out what's going to be my front, what's going to be my back. And I have a little place where when I probably pushed on this, it pulled this little piece out, and I have a little bit of a spot. Boop. Push it back, and I keep getting icing on my hands, but you know, comes with the territory. All right, so I think just because I have a little bit more room for my walkway, I'm going to put my walkway right here, okay? And so this is going to be my front where my door is. And so I want to do probably, I like to work from the bottom up, because sometimes if you're working from the top down, it's harder to fit all of your decorations in there. So I am going to actually do a door. I want to use a couple of candy cane pieces. I like to have my candy canes unwrapped before I start this process, because it makes me a little crazy to actually like have to stop and unwrap all of my candy. So I'm going to go ahead and instead of putting the icing on the house, I'm going to put the icing on the back of my candy cane first. And you don't want too much, because it's going to kind of stretch out a little bit. And I'm going to put that there. Okay. And then I'm going to put this here. And this is just one of my favorite ways of doing doors. You'll see if I decorated the gingerbread house, it's probably going to have a door exactly like this. So I'm going to put that one there, and all you do is push. No big deal. All right, now I want to take a couple of these white guys. These are mint M&Ms. And I'm going to dot, and I'm going to put these at the top of my door. Now, had my door pieces been a little closer together, I just would have chosen a different candy, something that's a little bit smaller. No big deal. Alright, and then I always love to put snow over the top of my doors. So I'm going to just squeeze, like pillow, and then icicles. You just pull down and gradually reduce your pressure as you're pulling down. I like icicles everywhere on my gingerbread. Just doesn't seem like Christmas if there's not a bunch of snow everywhere. There we go. And then I want to put like a door handle on there. And I think I'm just going to use a little red dot. Stop. And then swirl it away. The swirl actually cuts the tip of the frosting off. If you just pull out, you're going to get like a little poke, and that's fine. You can go back and push it down after it has a minute to dry, but I always like to just get it done, and the swirling motion as you're finishing just helps it be all more flatter. Alright, so now I think I want that trail. So I'm going to go ahead and set that out just to make sure I have all of my spacing right. I'm just going to go ahead and take my Andes mints and put those down. Pretty easy peasy. Okay, and then I think I want gumdrops. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just trying to make sure I have everything I want. Alright, I always like to put something right up under here, under the eaves. Something fun, and this is hard to do once you've actually put your roof on. So I think what I'm going to do is take some gumdrops. I'm going to cut them in half, just so they don't stick out quite as far. And I want to put them down. They look a little bit like bells when you cut them in half. And I picked out green. It doesn't matter what color, really. Look a little bit like bells. I love it. And I'm spacing them because I'm probably going to put a couple different colors in here. Cut them open. I'll do a couple at a time just for the interest of time. And I love purple in here. It's such an unexpected color that I love it. Little pop of color makes things happy. And my kids are going to love doing their houses. I didn't let them do this one with me. Maybe I should have. Maybe I'll have them guest star with me next time. So, and I need one more half. I'm not quite sure how I spaced it that way, but there it is. All right. Oop. There we go. All right, now I want to teach you how to do a wreath. All right. Those gumdrops are just so sugary. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so a wreath. So we're going to use, this bag that we cut kind of at a V so that we would get those leaf shapes. We're going to take it, and the first thing we're going to do is try to do 4 little spots. So you have a framework of where your wreath is going to be. You don't want it off center, you don't want it cattywampus, you don't want it ovular, and then I go in between and I do 1 in between. Okay, and now you can go back and just start putting little leaves in there. and I twist my wrist a little bit to give it just a little bit of a feel of a wreath and not all in one direction. And go up here to kind of pull it into a really nice round. All right, and then maybe one down here, just to even it up. I'm gonna put some holly berries in there, maybe at the bottom here, a couple, 3. Maybe some here. And you usually want to decorate in groups of 3. Or some odd number. It's just more pleasing to your eye. All right. Next, I think I want, so you always want to do something to this edge. And you can use the little Pyroline cookies, or you can use gumdrops, or you can just cover it in snow and icicles, whatever you choose. So what I like to do is the Pyroline cookies. I think they just make that edge look so nice. Down, down. Alrighty, so you take these guys, now you have to kind of look at it. Is it a twisted one? Sometimes you get twisted ones. You know, baking is just one of those things. It's a chemical reaction, and once it starts, you sometimes can't control how the outcome is. See, like this guy, he's a little bit cattywampus, so I'm not going to use him for the roof. Yeah, nice straight one. Alright, and there it is. And again, it's just because this icing is so nice and stiff that things just stay where you want them to. I'm going to do the same on the back with the top of the roof. Okay, and notice how I'm holding the bag. I'm not squeezing from way up here. I'm making myself a smaller amount to squeeze so it doesn't hurt your hands. Alright, so we'll get this cookie here. And we're going to do this cookie here. More icing on me. Comes with the territory. It means you're making progress, I guess. Alright, I'm totally digging how the front of this house is coming out. Alright, I think I want a little bush here and here. So I'm going to go up, and of course, with a holiday house, you want to do evergreens. You can do other ones, it's fine, but for me, I'm going to do an evergreen. And then so I'm holding my hand at an angle, and I'm pulling out as I reduce my pressure so that I get nice tips on those. Now, do another one here. This one's going to be a little bit bigger. I don't want to cover up my beautiful door. Okay, I'm digging it. All right. So now I'm going to do a little bit of roof detail, and then I will go back and finish the whole house, probably in a little bit of high speed. So the roof detail, because I told you I like to go from the bottom up, but just in the interest of time. All right, I'm digging that. All right, so now I'm going to decorate the rest of this lower part just in high speed so that you can watch me do what we do and still have time to decorate your own house. So, all right, so I've done evergreens all the way around my house. Now I love to do that because it brings a lot more color to the house. It's not just red, white, and gingerbread. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe off this little bit that came out, is put on a window in the back. Now windows, I like to do, I had a little blowout. Now get them centered, touch, go across, and I love to put little candy adornments on here. So it's not just a frosting window. Alright, so I'm going to take my little M&Ms. And I always put the M backwards. I don't know. I feel like that's just the way I should do it. And then you got your green, and then red in this corner, green in this corner. And then I think I'm going to do the same gumdrop underneath. So put my line so they have something to stick to. Alright. My scissors, I don't need you anymore. Oh no, I do. Alright. I want a yellow and a red instead of another green, just for color, color. You guys can probably hear that. My son is in class upstairs. Ah, dumb quarantine. All right. Their school actually closed until January. So here we are. And he was sent home because his pod had been exposed. So here we are, all having a wonderful time at home. And this is actually really, it's been nice to be with the family quite so much. It's been really nice, actually. Okay. I think that's enough. Put those back. Alright. And I want to do some gumdrop bushes. Boom. Boom. One more. Boom. There we go. I don't know why, I just wanted to. And that is probably pretty much the rule of the game. If you want to, you do it. Alright, so I like to do sort of a swag effect on the top of the house. And so what I need to do is make a little mark here and a mark here, separating it in approximately equal thirds. Okay? So start in the corner. Now with the swag, you actually start here and then your arm needs to rotate, because if you don't rotate your arm, or at least your wrist, as you're doing it, then the swag looks different on the left side than on the right side. So it looks like this. Down, and then I like to go bigger at the bottom. And up. Squeeze bigger at the bottom. And it's all personal preference. You don't have to do a swag on your house. Okay. That one I didn't rotate enough. Do you see how it looks different? Like it's leaning this way and it's leaning that way. Nobody but me is going to notice that, but you know, I notice. All right. So this one, we're going to start about a third down and come up, because we're doing starting in the middle of a swag on here and going up. And down and stop halfway. Alright, I'm going to finish this up in high speed. Okay, when you come down to the bottom, I like to make it drop over. Oops, I was talking and wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Drop over the edge and come back up so that there's not such a harsh edge of gingerbread here. I don't know if you can see, it's hanging off in midair. Hanging down low. Okay, so now go over to the other side, and here we go. Now, you kind of have to hurry if you want to put any candy on the top, because this will dry a little bit. Now, it's not going to dry as solid as like a royal icing would, but it will dry out, and then the candies won't stick quite as well. So I like to do alternating white, red, white up here. And I just happen to only grab one red, so I can move to the next row. All right. Okay, right there. Red. And I haven't put any on top yet because I haven't actually put any icing up there on purpose yet. I put the icing that's building the house, but I haven't put any decorative icing up there, so I will get to that in just 1 second. Alright, and I ran out of red again. There we go. Alright, so this one I'm going to put as if there's like a snow-capped peak, and I'm just going to go back and forth, nice and wide, kind of in a zigzag pattern. As if there's a bunch of snow. And on the ends, right where these Pearline cookies are, I'm just going to do a nice big ball. I'm probably going to go back and put some icicles there. So right where these two swags are, I'm going to put one right at the top, right where they overlap. Okay, I'm liking that. That's looking good. Alright, so now I'm going to do the board. And I don't have a butter knife to do this with. So you just squeeze it. Cover your board. And you don't have to be too particular about where you're putting this. But this helps hold down any other decorations that you may want to do. Okay, go down in between here. Boop, boop, boop. All right. A little bit of green on my white, so what I'm going to do, take that off with a paper towel, or I don't like to use the terra cloth, that I like to wipe my hands off, because you get frosting all over your hands when you wipe your hands off when you do that. Alright, so I have an offset spatula here. Okay, it has a little bend. You may not have one of these, and it is completely okay if you just use a butter knife for this. You can even use a spoon too. But the reason why this is offset is when you're spreading the icing out, you're not dragging your knuckles through it at the same time. So I'm just getting it up to the cake, or cake, I'm used to cake, you know. Get it up to the house, spread it around. Okay. Spread, spread, spread. And I got into my green here, so you can just take it off, wipe it off in a paper towel or whatever you got around. That's a little piece of parchment paper that I used to bake the pieces on. And spread. Alright. I'm digging this. I love this part. Love it, love it. Alright. There is that. Now, I don't want to mess this up with my thing, so I'm going to take my bag and just squeeze a little more and just bounce. If you have a real tight place, that's always like a really good option, is to just squeeze it and bounce. And that will take the little piping lines out. Now here's a fun thing you can make. More candy canes, of course. And you can even take these and put them on the edges of your house, and I probably will go back and do that. But this is kind of fun. You can take 2 candy canes, put them straight up, kind of close to each other. A little bit of icing here in between. And now you got a little sleigh. How fun is that? Yes, yes. All right, you got 2 more Pyroline cookies. You have tons more candy, and I know you can be very creative with whatever you do with those. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna put some candy canes right on the corners here. Just tuck them up under, because I want to. Looks fun. You can go absolutely crazy with this. Yes, these houses are edible. However, if you do them early and you don't eat them till after Christmas, they're gonna be a bit dry. Just a warning. But, you know, kiddos don't really mind. They still like it. I'm getting icing all over my table here. I need to be a little more careful. Alright, one more. There we go. Love, love, love. Alright. Okay, now I want to add a few more icicles, I think. Yes, yes I do. Okay. So, icicles. You come up, you stick your tip in the icing that's already there, squeeze a little bit, pull down. Now you want to pull straight down instead of off to the angle, because icicles form straight down. So you can even see if you can get who can get the longest icicle. That'd be kind of a fun contest. Who's got the most creative house? That'd be fun. And I just think icicles really kind of finish this off well. Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I can't wait to see what you all create. All right, so go crazy with this. Have fun. I've showed you how to make leaves and evergreens. I showed you how to make icicles. I showed you how to put it together. All so fun. And you can completely cover the top if you want to. You can do something like I did. You can do a different, oops, my sideways icicle. Shh, I didn't do that. All right, so fun, so fun. I think I'm gonna take some gumdrops and just line the walk with it. Love, love, love. I'll do a purple one over here just for fun, funsies. Maybe, I don't know, I always think of green gumdrops look like bushes, so I'm gonna do those. I'm gonna do a couple more here. More here. Oh, a white one here? Yep. No, I already used yellow. No, I already used purple. Wait. No, it is. It is what it is. So I'm loving it. Loving it, loving it. And I hope you have so much fun doing yours too.